This is a response to the post, The Regulation of the Internet by Aranzazu Ballesteros. I find it interesting the point you made that one of the state's priorities is to ensure the safety of its citizens. I feel this is a point greatly overlooked when examining the security measures governments are implementing. The NSA states their mission is to protect U.S. national security systems and produce foreign signal intelligence information. While I'm sure they have other core goals besides U.S. citizen safety, they do monitor future terrorist activity and other threats to national security. In the long run, could it be worth it? We are never made aware of how many security breaches it stops, only when something breaks down in the system. The government is also attempting to keep up to date with current technological trends of the time and follow the idea of if you don't invent it or execute it, someone else will. Could it be necessary in order to be able to set up precautions against other forces that would wish to do a lot more damage? Some of these issues even lead towards national security risks. No one in the U.S. expects to know all the preventative measures and battle plans the military takes when we are at war, which I can only assume have less than purely ethical backgrounds. So how can we assume this in the cyber war as well? WikiLeaks even divulged confidential military information, which brings these two worlds to a head. While I would never advocate invading citizens' privacy for invasion's sake, I feel there's a lot more going on behind the scenes than we know or want to be aware of. You did mention the idea of creating an international committee to establish regulations. I feel this is a good solution for a lot of issues. It is an interesting approach considering how different nations must differ on technology policies. I do feel, however, different nations would invariably have different degrees of willingness to give up privacy and divulge information. What specific regulations were you referring to? And how do you think the melding of different levels of technological experience would fare on the international scene? Do you think there should be different committees for the public and business sector? I feel the issue of data collection has been on the minds of a lot of people, but if these regulations got rigidly enforced, many large companies could lose their revenue stream and it could potentially bankrupt them. These committees will need to weigh these pros and cons and determine the effect stricter business regulations could have on economies all around the world. They would also need to factor in the human rights factor when making decisions. These are all issues that, as we become more aware of the invasion of our privacy and as cyber warfare picks up, we need to think about solutions. Could it be worth it? But then if so, how far are we willing to let the government go?